And camera's still on, and do we have action? Well, I'll just shut the laptop off every time, and that's all, because it looks like, there we go. Good evening, Tony Dottino here to do my Live with Tony, and we're talking about brain health this evening, which continues to be a major topic of importance. If any of you just watch 5 minutes of the news and continue to see the impact that the COVID pandemic is having on us, we've got to be more assertive and much more proactive in what we need to do to maintain our own mental functions and our own mental capacity to stay in a can-do thinking process versus crawling into stress, anxiety, depression, phobia, the things that take away and sap the energies away from our brilliant creative minds. And I just find myself continuing and talking with people and hearing them and just aching for what's happening in their thinking and just losing their optimism and hope that we're at the end of this, and they just feel that, my God, will we ever see the end of this pandemic? And we're optimistic. We have vaccines, and people are just flooding to the websites that are looking to sign up for the vaccines and filling up their open spots, and then realizing there's only a limited number of these, and where are they? And so who do we blame, and how do we get this thing handled? And what I'm trying to share with people is, let's step back and let's understand what's going on so that you are positioned in a way to be able to maintain your brain health. And as I keep reading these reports on depression and suicides and drug overdoses, I keep saying, I want to go back to my 6 elements of brain health. And the 6 elements of brain health start with, first of all, mental challenges that give us the feeling, look, our brain wants to continue to learn and grow. So when we think about learning how to improve your memory is another way of saying, how do we learn how to improve to continue to learn? Our brain is a information, knowledge-seeking machine. It wants to constantly learn and seek new information. It wants to get answers to these questions we have about COVID, and when is it going to end, and who's going to find the secret source that gives us the best solutions to get through this. And it just creates such a level of stress and anxiety when we don't quickly have these answers. We want them yesterday. And yet our brain is craving this and not getting it, and so it just adds to our stress level. So mental challenges, learning how to improve your memory, putting yourself through some of the exercises that we have in our Maximum Memory Mastery online course. It's Maximum Memory Mastery. It's now becoming a part of our overall Brain Power series. So we're opening up our web to a Brain Power series connection of workshops that if people are trying to learn first how to learn, how to improve their own learning of whatever, we'll have a course on that. We're now working on one on improving our maximum memory by sharing what are the elements of brain health. And as I continue to read the different newsletters that I get and subscribe to, and yesterday's broadcast was all about the current issue of the Tufts Health and Newsletter, right? We talked yesterday about the important things that you can do in terms of what are the steps you need to have a healthy new year. Well, there's another article in here that talks about one of the most elements of brain health is exercise, right? And so what can we do to build a good exercise plan? We want to look at our sleep patterns and how do we enhance our ability to get a good night's rest if we're watching news at the end of the day. My goodness, we just want to keep sleeping and keep the covers over our head, and especially if you're in the colder months of the year and it's cold. Once you get out from under those warm covers and snuggling with your loved one, boy, you want to get out now, and you feel the burr and the chill. And so what do we do with our sleep patterns? Are we maintaining our nutrition? I've become a label expert in looking at the sugar and carbs and flours that are in the different things and how much salt is in it. And so what are we doing in terms of our nutritional habits and maintaining better nutritional habits during this period of lockdown. One of the biggest ones I keep hearing from people, and you see it in the breakout during Christmas and New Year's, is the missing of contact with people, social interaction. And we've been talking about social interaction for months, and how do we maintain good, strong social interactions even when we're restricted to how close we can get and whether we can hug and touch. And that, to me, is the one that continues to worry me the most, because in knowing what I know about our science and our brain health, if you lose the ability to share and learn from others and the experiences of being in contact with others, and we move ourselves to isolation and loneliness, we begin to feel like we're not connected to anything, and we feel isolated and lost, and therefore don't have any purpose and objectives of saying, how do I continue to move on in my life when I don't see a purpose to it, or I don't see it valuing others, and I don't feel like I'm part of a team. And this is why I think sports today has really become so important to us, because we do see people being able to play basketball or football and hopefully baseball when it comes up in the spring. But my God, these men and women put themselves on the line to do the things that are crucial for their health, so they can go and do the professional things and the college sports that are part of their lives. So how do we maintain a level of exercise that helps us then to minimize the bang, the pop that we get from missing social interaction? And that's the one that I keep trying to be creative about, and how do we blend that with exercising? And so many different ways of doing things, of exercising, even within your own home. I've been sharing tips over and over about that, and then our sleep patterns, and how do we handle the stress that's going. So here's what I'm trying to get people to understand as I'm talking with them and visiting and sometimes trading emails. We have got to get our hands around the fact that this pandemic is it's a once in a lifetime event and experience. And what I've said since day one is there is no one that has the cookbook, the recipe for exactly how to deal with this. So getting angry about any of our politicians, be it at the national level, be it at the state level, or be it at our local levels, is just, it's fruitless. There is no point of expending energy on getting angry with anyone when we realize in the big picture of things and maintaining our own personal brain health, what we've got to realize is our brain is craving completeness and an end of the journey, and yet this journey keeps going. So how do we recognize, at least within ourselves, that this journey doesn't have an end date that's fixed by anybody, because nobody knows what the whole pattern of this is at this point. We're blessed that we have scientists at least now working on a vaccine, and that we're making progress in our vaccines, and now people are cramming websites and they're on lines waiting for the vaccines, which is a good thing in the sense that we have the confidence that this vaccine that the science world has come up with is going to help at least build some level of immunity. But how long will that last is up in arms and grabs. And people that are getting it now that are over 65 in the state of Florida now become the lab rats, so to speak, in finding out exactly how long this is going to last and what happens to their immunity system and how long will their immunity systems take them through the pandemic. So there's so many unknown questions that we all need to do is at least maintain the elements of what can we stay in control of that keep us mentally strong and then physically fit to be able to get through whatever this virus and this pandemic are going to require and demand of each of us on a personal level. And so I continue to stress through either the readings and the writings that I get, through my own messaging, my own study of life experiences, and my own personal research I've done for almost 30 years, there are some things we can take control over and we can maintain in our own lives that can at least help protect us in terms of our thinking and our emotions at a level that I think allow us to give us the best chance of getting to the other side. And the sadness of this is, and watching these COVID numbers and these death numbers that are showing up every day, there are just too many people that didn't handle that in the best way possible, let their guards down, and I don't know if they just thought that they were going to be able to navigate through it and be immune from the immunity of, or the disease of it, or the virus and the expansion, but this thing is transmitted so quickly, and I almost don't want to look at the news on a daily basis. It's terribly discouraging and depressing, and you got to say, how many people during Christmas and New Year's ever thought that the consequences of their social interaction, which is so innate and so demanding of us, was going to lead to some of their loved ones that have passed, or some of their loved ones that are now in long-term COVID. And so let's think about our social interactions. How can we get social interaction and not put ourselves at risk? How do we exercise properly, and even within the boundaries of our own home, and go up and down, as they say, steps, or lift milk jugs or water jugs and stuff. We do our shopping at Walmart's, we do it at the curb. We order it up online, my other half orders it up, we go out and 8 o'clock in the morning at the back of the Walmart's and open the trunk up and go to the groceries. We come home, we wipe them down, and then we put them away. And we've been doing that for months, and we may still continue to do it for many more months in terms of what's going on. But then we're allowed to control our nutritional habits, so we are eating the right foods and things. Our sleep habits, we're in a routine of what we see, what we watch, what do we do to get ourselves into a sleep pattern that's peaceful and not stressful. So with no news watching after 9 o'clock at night. Doesn't help, doesn't make anything get better. But even with the news, how do you stay local and stay with more of the community? What are you doing for training your brain into something new? What YouTubes or webinars or Zoom classes can you get to be a part of so you continue to maintain a purpose and an objective in going forward? How are you handling stress and building resilience into your day-to-day practices? All of these things add up to allowing people to get through this just awful experience in all of our lives. As I was saying to one of my grandchildren today, you are living through an experience that even with Grandpa at my age and being a senior, have never, ever, ever had the experience of anything like it. And so as you listen to the news or you read newspapers or online chats, just realize there's nobody that's got the magic pill, that's got all the answers. And so don't set yourself up for continuing to look and search and hope for an answer at this point. But know that people are working on it and that the answer will come. It's just a matter of being patient enough and training your own brain to do the things that keep it healthy, that allow you, at your age, getting through college, to get to the other side. And she just misses her friends and her social interactions, and I'm trying to give her some alternatives and suggestions on how to do that. So we are all dealing with this, and that's the other side of it. We're all dealing with this. This has just been a horrible 2020 that's not starting 2021 any much better as you look at it. And we need to start taking some of the politics of this stuff and just putting it to the side and realizing this ought to be uniting people and pulling us together and focused on what's going on up in here. This is my Friday night broadcast, and I'm off for the weekend. We've got 6 games of football to watch, at least I'm planning to do, and we'll be back on Monday evening in the 5 o'clock hour. Have a good weekend, and please, masking, distancing, washing your hands, just drum that into your head and be smart about everything you're doing, because, boy, one slip up in this thing seems to be causing a major penalty in people's lives. So it just isn't worth it. I want you to be with us for the next Memory Championship, which we're hoping to be able to do in September of 2021, and would love all of you to be a part of that and at least be a spectator for it if you don't want to participate in it.